My, how football can change in just a couple of days. Oxford United have another win under our belts. God, it felt like a long time coming. In a relegation 6-pointer at Grenoble Road on Boxing Day. Let's talk about it. So yes, Oxford United have managed another win. It's felt like a long time since we've said those words. But yes, in a massive game against Cardiff City, in a game that at times played out a bit like a like a League One fixture, which is ironic given both of these sides could be heading that way. Look, this is massive. First game under Gary Rowett, his first 3 points as Oxford United manager. I made my feelings clear about that I thought Des Buckingham should have been given more time as Oxford United head coach, but I will say this for Gary Rowett, that so far, look, I'm not gonna say the board's decision has been justified until we're a couple of months down the line. What I will say is that it's been a while since we've had this feeling, and Gary Rowett is the man that's brought it back for now. Let's have a look at the lineup, shall we? So obviously, big Boxing Day fixture, and for the most part, it's a similar kind of setup to what we've seen under Des. Obviously, there was a lot of concern that perhaps Gary Rowett's arrival would mean we go much more defensive, a focus, as Millwall fans have been kind of commenting, and journalists who have covered Gary Rowett's sides have said he focuses much more on being defensively solid over exciting, attacking, free-flowing football, which, it's, attacking, forward-thinking football is the identity of this football club. It's been that way for a long time. We always try and hire a manager that can play that forward-thinking, attacking, exciting football. So far, Gary Rowett has stuck to the philosophies that this football club has been playing, since all the way to Callum Robinson. You can go even further back than that to even Michael Appleton. Good to see that. So, Jamie Cumming obviously keeps his place in goal. No place yet for Matt Ingram, which I think is quite interesting, given especially, Jamie's a man that has been in goal for Tonkings against, Sheffield United and Middlesbrough and Leeds. I think it's quite interesting that we're still yet to give our number 2 keeper a chance, significant run of games in goal, but I wonder if that's more a case of trying to keep the faith in Jamie, because I will say Jamie's not been at fault for an awful lot this season in terms of goals conceded, other than maybe 1 or 2, as we've talked about in previous reviews. Sam Long comes in at right back in place of Peter Kioso. That's obviously a change I called for after the Leeds loss. Interesting. Does hint at a more structured defence instead of having 2 wing-backs going forward. Maybe it will be a case we have, Longy, who can step in as a centre-back, so we go to a 3 at the back when we're going forward. Greg Lee can then join the attack. But we did see Sam Long joining the attack during this game. Elliot Moore, Ciaron Brown obviously keeping their spot, so does Greg Lee. One change to the rest of the side, that being that Owen Dale drops out for Ruben Rodriguez. Tyler Goodrham keeps his place. Shemmy Placheta keeps his place. Very interesting. And so do Will Vogts and Cameron Brannigan. Mark Harris starting up top against his boyhood club. Obviously, from an Oxford point of view, we're well aware of Alex Robertson. Obviously, we didn't face him during his time at Portsmouth, but we saw how good of a player the young Scotsman is. And obviously the return of Cardiff number 11, our former golden boy. Before Tyler Goodrham, there was Callum O'Dowda. I will say, off the bat, I understand a lot of the vitriol towards Callum when he was with us, or sorry, when he was leaving us, I should say. I understand it. He's one of our own. He's a Kidlington lad. I'm pretty sure his family still lives in the Oxford area. Scored. It may have not been the deciding goal, but it was a very, very memorable goal against Wycombe, of course, in that game to get us up to League One. I will always have a love for Callum, just because, being an Oxford lad, you always want to see one of your own, featuring for your football club, don't you? It's obviously, if you look at Cardiff's side, there's some really, really decent players in this side. Obviously, we know firsthand Callum's ability. Willock is a player that was highly, highly rated as a youngster. I think he struggled with injury issues, and that's actually interesting to note that both O'Dowda and Willock, it was thought they were going to be out injured for this game. There are reports coming out of the of Wales Online, I believe it was, that Cardiff could have as many as 11 first-team players missing for this game. Obviously, Willock and O'Dowda did feature. I don't think there was any more, but they were really struggling with injury issues. Cole is a talented player. Callum Chambers obviously had a very, very good youth career with Arsenal. And he went to Southampton as well, didn't he? Jack Annick, obviously, I believe that's Jack Annick, was at Newcastle. Didn't do an awfully well there, but has Premier League experience. But like I say, for the most part, this game was very much, it looked like a League One fixture. As we look at the momentum chart, it's very much, like I say, two sides that have really struggled. Two sides that didn't look good at all. But it was a very kind of tetchy, nervy first half. Ever so slightly shaded possession-wise by Cardiff. I think that's more down to when we score and then they're kind of trying to get back in it straight away. They missed a huge opportunity. It was this one here from Meite. It's a really good save by Jamie Cumming, and Cardiff in the early stages, I think it's fair to say, were looking like the better side. There's this wild effort from Willock outside the area, but yeah, Cardiff were looking the better side. I was sat there thinking, oh God, not another poor game against the fellow struggling side that we had away at Loftus Road. But we started to improve, we got better, we grew into the game. A lot of these efforts are from kind of Wilder, as this was Harris's first shot. It didn't even make it to the corner flag. It was really that bad. Brannigan, a wild shot wide, and Brannigan had a first shot blocked. But more importantly, he's only back in the bloody goals. It's only come against his boyhood club, Mark Harris. So it's really interesting because he acknowledged after the game that this is the kind of goal he scored and should have been scoring against Bristol City, against there's too many to count really. Mark Harris had a lot of these opportunities right in the 6-yard box. He's not slotted away, but he did this one. Even gave a little cup to celebration towards the Cardiff fans as he ran towards the south stand. But yeah, it's a really good ball in by, I believe it's Shemmy Placheta, who actually, we'll talk about in a minute, had a really good game. It's interesting. I was saying last video he had to buck his ideas up, but he's actually really good in this game. Shemmy, I believe it's a really good bit of play down the right hand side, and then it's cut across the face of goal, and there, literally right on the spot, is Mark Harris to prod home. I did, when watching back the replay for the first time, think, has he gone a little bit? I was having flashbacks to the Reading goal at Grenoble Road. I was thinking, has he got a little bit too early? Has he got a little bit more? Has he got a bit fortunate to be off, to be not called offside? but he timed it well. We go into half-time 1-0 up, and yeah, it was a bit of disbelief in the East Stand, because yeah, it's been obviously we've scored in recent games, like obviously, you know, the loss to Sheffield Wednesday, we scored first, but it was a kind of, oh my god, it's Harris that's just put the ball in the back of the net. And after the very lively start that Cardiff had, it was, okay, this is a big goal that we need to kind of we need to continue the momentum. So there was a change made by Cardiff, that being Callum Robinson replacing Willock. Like I say, Willock it was being reported by Wales Online that he may not start the game due to a knock. I'm not sure whether this was performance related or if it was injury related. I'm going to lean probably towards the latter, that it would have been injury related, the reason for him to come off. Robinson comes on, has an impact for Cardiff, but again, we'll talk about that in a minute. So second goal comes from a corner kick from whipped in by Tyler Goodrham. Here's this one here from Ciaron Brown. You know, within 10 minutes of the restart, absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect time to get that goal, really. Ball's whipped in by Goodrham, I believe it is, and it's Ciaron had made that run a couple of times on set pieces, that he'd lose his man, nod it home again against his former club. And yeah, we go into Dreamland thinking we're 2-0 up here. You know, let's really try to press this advantage. As you can see here, so after half time, big, you know, pretty much sustained periods of high chances for Oxford. We score off 2 of them, and even here, just before Cardiff get their first of their 2 goals, it's you know, these were periods of the game we were pretty much looking much the better side. I'm not going to say we were dominant, we were looking the better side. And then, yeah, before an hour, Shemmy Placheta decides to pull an absolute thunder bastard out. 30 yards out, receives the ball in field, takes it on his left foot, I think jinks a man, and then just pings it right in the top right hand corner, completely beats Jack Annick. What a goal that was. We've got competition now for goal of the season at Oxford United between Sparky's Butte at Blackburn and this from Shemmy Placheta. You could see kind of running off I think the relief in Shemmy Placheta's face that he got that goal, because there has been a lot of justified criticism towards Shemmy Placheta, because like I've said previously, he came in with, you know, a reputation of a bit like Owen Dale when he first joined the football club, all pace, lack of end product, and you even saw a period in this game that even though he was being played kind of as an inside winger on the right hand side to kind of make use of his pace against that side of the Cardiff defence, his lack of faith in his own right foot was really letting him down. There was a moment where I think he'd gone past one of the Cardiff defenders, and I think what he tried to do is drag the ball back to then try and swing it in his left foot, but he's got it wrong. It's just rolled out for a goal kick. But there's an absolute beauty from Shemmy Placheta, and yeah, you know, I think, I'm not going to say it vindicates him, but it's definitely the impact that he's needed. I think it's a goal he really needed, and a bit of magic to, I think, lift the overall spirit of the Oxford side, of the Oxford dressing room. We have so many chances to extend our lead after Shemmy's goal. A couple of really good counter-attacking moves, which, let me try and find out, I believe it's one here. There's another decent one from Ciaron Brown. There's definitely another one where it's a superb effort. This one from Brannigan, it's low to annex right hand side, but relatively routine save. I can't seem to find it. I think it might have been one of the Brannigan ones, where he kind of his shot. It's a low one, but it's at that kind of angle. It's kind of coming through a crowd of bodies. We think maybe it's going to take a nick and divert away from Jack Hannock. Not to say that Cardiff were completely useless. This goal from Ashford is really good. It's a case of a little bit of Armidfield going to sleep a little bit, and then Ciaron Brown gets completely turned by Ashford, and he finds the bottom corner past Jamie Cumming. This was nervy to say the least, because as much as we're 3-1 up at this point, this is Oxford United Football Club. We have form in taking what look like commanding leads and then dropping points. If we look at Middlesbrough, the last 2 game weeks, they've been, scored 3 goals. They've been in the league and they've dropped points. They've drawn the last 2 games 3-3. So yeah, a little bit of nerves, and fair play to Cardiff. They tried to step up. They tried to get more than just 2. They tried to get the point. I think it was as wild shot from Callum Dowder. I could have sworn there was another Fotmob's shot might have not picked up, but they were putting some really decent moves together. And then, so this one is really weird from Callum Robinson. So in the moment, I didn't see it. I was turning around to talk to the guy behind me, and then all of a sudden turn back around and Callum Robinson's running off celebrating. A goal contribution, or goal involvement I should say, for Callum Robinson in his second half performance. From what I can tell, it's obviously come from a set piece, and no one's cleared it. No one's taken command of the situation, and it's fired into the roof of our net, and it's a very, very... So the thing is, obviously that was the very last kick of the game. But obviously Gary Rowett said this after the game, that's not a habit we want to be in, which is, conceding late goals, because the reality is, sure, we're 3-2 up at that point, but if there had been, 2 minutes left of that game instead of 30 seconds, there would have been real concern around Grenoble Road about, oh my god, are Cardiff gonna snatch a point from this? So yeah, we've got to get better at that, and Rowett has mentioned that himself, so I don't need to kind of, I'm preaching to the choir a bit about that, and of the side, obviously Jamie, I think maybe he could do a bit better with the second goal, but again, that comes to the fact that no one in the box picks up their man, no one takes responsibility. Not an awful lot he can do with the Ashford goal, and I'm sure he will be annoyed that his clean sheet's gone as much as we are. So we'll talk about Longy and Greg Lee as fullbacks combined. So I thought Sam Long had a pretty good game. Obviously, first time back in the lineup, and I think it's been a couple of games, isn't it, since he's been back in the lineup. I thought he was a very stable performance from Longy. Other than the obvious, which we've talked about before, not winning his aerial duels as much as we'd like. I think it was a very kind of decent performance by Longy. And like we said, kind of ventured forward a fair amount of times. Elliot Moore was the poorest of that back line. It's Ciaron that gets spun, I think, for the Ashford goal, but Elliot again was getting a little bit caught by the width and the pace of the Cardiff attack. It's a point I've come back to time and time again, but it's one that keeps rearing its ugly head. Is Elliot's lack of pace is becoming a real issue in the Championship. Whether what we need to do is play a back 3 with Ciaron Brown and Sam Long, basically pushing forward, and then you have Elliot Moore as basically staying in his own penalty area, other than for set pieces. I'm not sure how you solve that problem. Ciaron obviously gets an assist and a goal. Look, this is a performance that I think Ciaron really needed after not a good one at all against Leeds. Yeah, I think it's one he needed, and obviously, you know, his header that he wins from the corner kick, it's something that, you know, we wanted to do for a long time, and he's finally done. Brannigan and Volks, this has been Volks' best performances for a long time. I thought he was really steady. Played the full 90, and I thought put in a really decent shift. Obviously gets caught on the ball a couple of times, and does lose possession. I think he one of the times when he gives away possession, he then tries to make up for it and makes a foul. But other than that, I think Will Volks, he performed pretty decently. One of his better performances of the campaign. Brannigan, how did Cam do? Cam was an interesting one, because again, I think there was, you can see when we're in a bad run of form that Cam gets really pissed off and he just starts lunging into challenges. Couple of bits of play he tried to make with Rodriguez and with Goodrham didn't quite come off. But I think it's a steady performance from Cameron Brannigan. Tyler Goodrham, for the first time in a long time, he doesn't finish the game. Came off basically the 90th minute, and obviously gets the assist for Ciaron Brown's goal, I believe he gets credited for. And yeah, really good performance by Tyler. Our set pieces are so much better with him on them, and I thought for the most part he dealt with the physical battles he was having pretty well. Shemmy Placheta, talked a little bit about him earlier in terms of, you know, this performance he needed, performance we needed from him. Goal and an assist, an incredible goal and a really nice assist. Obviously he gets a man of the match from sponsors and from Fortmore, and probably from me as well. Nice to have you finally show up, Shemmy. Rodriguez, Ruben first half I thought looked better than he did the second half, and he didn't have an awfully big impact on the midfield battle, but I think he did play his part, like Ruben always does, in being the man that kind of leads our press. And then Mark Harris, great to see him back on the score sheet. Obviously in the perfect position, and to have it against his boyhood club must be absolutely sweet. We asked him when the players were walking in, we kind of all stood around in the car park, and one of my mates asked him, "Oi Sparky, if you score today, are you going to celebrate?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So I don't know if there was some kind of bad blood between him and Cardiff, the kind of hierarchy when he left there 2 seasons ago. So yeah, you know, great to see Sparky back on the score sheet. A couple of games earlier than he did last year, and now he leads the our goal scoring chart by a single goal over Dane Scarlett, and I think also Tyler Goodrham. At the subs, Matty Phillips, Siriki Dembele back, and Louis Sibley also back. Matty Phillips was quiet. He didn't do an awful lot, did Matty Phillips, in replacement of Ruben Ruiz. Obviously that meant that Shemmy went to momentarily went to the left hand side. Tyler would come into the 10, and obviously Dembele came on. So it ended up being that Tyler go over to, back to the left hand side. In the centre. Matty Phillips on the left hand side, Siriki Dembele on the right hand side. Siriki, it was great to see him back. Won a free kick early. went for an effort which got blocked by a Cardiff man. I think he's desperate. He's as desperate to get his first Oxford goal than I think all of us are for him to get one. And then obviously Lewis Sibley came on for a couple of minutes back in his legs. Didn't have, had 6 minutes to do something, and didn't score an own goal. So, it's a fine performance. Yes, the bar is on the floor at the minute at this football club, but I'm delighted to say, after a little stay, we're back out of the relegation zone. We replaced Cardiff in 20th. We've got now a 2-point gap with a game in hand over the drop zone. Shame that we couldn't obviously not concede those 2 late goals, because that could have done our Goldhams a hell of a lot of good. But the fact that we're back out of the relegation zone and we're within a point of Stoke, within 4 points of Luton, so if we can get some results in the next couple of games, obviously got Plymouth next, and then Millwall after that, Preston, then the FA Cup against Exeter, and then 3 days after that a trip to Home Park. So we've got a big games coming up for Oxford United, and yeah, it's the Gary Rowett era's got off to the best start it possibly could. Let's see how long this lasts, shall we? Let me know your thoughts on Oxford's 3-2 win against fellow strugglers Cardiff City, and I'll see you for a review of the Plymouth game.